On today's show, we're talking about the possibility of no host at the Oscars again. And then, oh boy, brace yourselves for this Cats review. We are way too excited for that. And then another To All the Loves, the Boys I Loved Before. I'm still never going to be able to say that title right. Nope, not happening. To All the Boys I Loved Before. And this one's called To All the Boys I Loved Before P.S.
I Still Love You.
Oh my God, that movie is going to be an SEO nightmare, but at least it looks delightful. And I have the pleasure of talking about that trailer today with Emma and Dorina. How you guys doing?
Hello, Perri. Good morning. It's very early, but I only wake up early for you.
Yeah. Hey, I appreciate that for me and for Cats. So we're excited about that trailer, which I'm going to get the title right by the time we get to that portion of the show. But we are also going to review the movie Cats today, and I feel like we are all like bursting at the seams right now. We do have one topic to hit before we even get there, though. Of course, it's this report saying that maybe the Oscars are going to go hostless. Just for a little background here, we do know that that's what happened in 2019. And by going that route, not only did they shave off 30 minutes of the runtime, but it also saw a 12% uptick in viewers. Now we've got Deadline reporting that the Academy and the Oscar producers are considering doing that same approach again and not having a host. So first off here, what do you guys think of them not having a host? Did you prefer the way the ceremony ran last year?
It's interesting because yes and no. From the point of view of shaving down the runtime, absolutely, because these award shows tend to go on and on and on. And a lot of the time you can get into some very self-indulgent kind of inside baseball-y sort of stuff with a host. But that being said, I remember watching the Oscars as a kid, and I guess when I was little, I didn't realize there were different hosts because like Billy Crystal is the first person I could remember hosting the Oscars, and he did it for so many years, and he was so fantastic. So I feel like almost we just got to find the right host, you guys. We got to find the right host, we got to find the right writers, and then we will achieve perfect Oscars. I don't know. I'm conflicted.
I'm a little confused by the whole thing because I'm starting, or more so than ever, starting to realize the fact that I very quickly forget how the ceremony ran.
Yeah, if
I'm being completely honest, yes, I know there's some good hosts and there's some better years than others, but I don't know. Maybe it's just because I'm so obsessed with the movies and who's actually getting the awards that I very quickly forget the bits in the middle.
Yeah. I mean, I'm kind of with Emma too, where I love watching the Oscars with my family, specifically Billy Crystal's opening, because he always did the remix songs that we all loved. Mm-hmm. But anything to make this show shorter, I am all for. Because it's really long. Yeah. But there's other ways to also cut the runtime. Like they always have these weird kind of extra songs that are usually not as good, and then they don't sing the actual songs that are nominated, and they do weird things where they add stuff that nobody cares about, including some montages that aren't very good, right? Yeah. So there's ways to do it. I think if you get the host, I would want, then I would be very happy if it was somebody like Key and Peele, right? Like if it was somebody that actually did more creative stuff.
That would be awesome.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm really into that idea.
Right?
I thought you were going to put some sort of horror spin on the ceremony and have some like witchy person get up there and do it. I
mean, if Jordan Peele's up there, maybe he could do something fun that if you lose, you die. No, I'm kidding.
I think I have the best pitch in the world. Lin Shaye hosting the Oscars.
Ooh, that's a good one too.
I would thoroughly enjoy that. That's never happening.
Same.
Do you guys think that they are going to change course and go back to a host, or do you think they're really going to see it through this way?
My inclination is they're really going to see it through this way because ultimately it comes down to those ratings.
But just to throw a wrench into the ratings argument here, so the ratings for the Oscars did go up, but then we also know that the Emmys followed suit. They didn't have a host, and their ratings absolutely plummeted. So was it a no host thing last year for the Oscars specifically, or was it a situation where there was so much, not so great buzz about how all that stuff went down, and everybody was just curious?
I was going to say that was exactly the point I was going to touch on, is maybe people were just curious to see how it would go with no host, and then even though people watched it, they didn't like it, and that's why they didn't watch the Emmys, which had no host. So,
or maybe not in our space, but it's possible that just movies are more popular and people watch the Oscars more than the Emmys too. So there's that just in general. I think in general, right, that the Oscars are more popular. It's like it's like the biggest award show ever.
Yeah,
right.
I don't really know how the numbers compare.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Or maybe you know what you need? You just need Judi Dench in cat mode hosting.
Yes,
the Oscars.
perfect. I was going to suggest
that's the answer to
I was
everything.
going to suggest Idris Elba in his weird naked catness with his hat. So
like we're
it's did I tell you I'm telling my kids that that's actually the Cat in the Hat?
Oh.
Yeah,
You would
exactly.
do that. That's very appropriate. I like that. I feel like we're joking about it, but that is the kind of like shtick or stunt
100%.
that would actually get people to
Or
watch
you
the
just
show.
get everybody in the actual room to look like anthropomorphic animals.
Yeah.
And then I'm definitely watching the whole thing.
You know what? That's it. That's how you do the Oscars. You have Oscars hosted by people who are performing as if they are in the musical Cats.
Yeah.
Done.
I love how I've gone from someone who's like, make sure every single award gets its spotlight, treat it with like the utmost respect, and now I'm like, just let Cats host the Oscars because
I mean, I would
what
watch
the
the
future
whole
should have.
show. Yeah, because I haven't been as excited about award shows in recent years, so that would totally get me to watch.
How much does your excitement for the Oscars in particular pertain to the movies that are nominated?
Oh, always. Every
Always.
time. That's why last year I thought I was not into most of the movies, right? If this year my favorite movies get nominated, like a Parasite or Jojo Rabbit, I'm so in. But if it's going to be like last year, where it's like Bohemian Rhapsody, I'm not into that.
Right.
So.
And I think, and because I'm feeling very much the same way that you are, Dorina, that there were so many movies this year that I really loved. That I think the chances of the stuff that I was really into getting nominated are very strong simply by a numbers game, because again, the quantity of stuff that I liked this year was massive.
We had a great year of movies, man. As
I'm
much as
feeling
we're
pretty
in
good
this
about it.
space and we complain about stuff all the time, there's good movies this year.
really
just
good.
briefly. So we know what could get nominated for an Oscar, but of all the things that have little to no chance that you would be rooting for, what would you pick?
Parasite for sure.
Parasite's
I don't
got a
know if
real
that has little
chance.
to no
Oh, you
chance.
think so?
Oh my-
if Bong Joon-ho gets
Not a-
nominated for director, man, I'm gonna freak out because that's awesome.
At this point in time, things could change as we roll through the season. I am betting on, at the very least, a Best Director nomination, a Best Picture nomination.
I
it
really
could run away
hope
with
so.
the foreign language film win.
I mean, it should at least.
in addition to getting a Best Picture nomination.
should.
I think for me, and this one again, I think is a cusp where it may get some love at the Oscars, but Honey Boy.
Yeah.
That's a good
Honey
call,
Boy
yeah.
is so good. If you have not seen it, it's on Amazon Prime. Watch it. It's amazing.
I'm a big fan of that one. Again, I don't think this is going to happen, but I would like to see it happen, whether it's for Honey Boy or Peanut Butter Falcon.
Yes.
Shia LaBeouf just somehow get
What
into
is it?
that
He did
conversation
it.
and get some recognition.
Yeah.
He like stood in front of the mirror and he was like, "Do it," and then he did it.
He's so good in both of those movies. I want to see it. I
Unbelievable.
want to see him get an Oscar
Yes.
nomination for something, but man, those fields are packed right now.
They
There's
really
too
are.
much. There's too much. All right. We're going to have too much to say about this right now. It is time. Welcome to the Collider Video movie review for Cats.
Yay!
Cats. I don't even know where to begin. I still don't know how many nights are we removed from our screening. I still don't know if I could formulate a proper sentence about how I feel about this movie, especially when you compare it to how we usually talk about movies. This just feels like such a bizarre anomaly to me that I can't even wrap my mind around how to begin to assess it right
This
now.
is the thing about Cats. The movie Cats is exactly the musical Cats. If you have seen the musical Cats, the movie is really not that different.
Judi Dench cat.
It's just a bunch of cats introducing themselves. And that's the movie.
But Emma, though, is it though like the musical Cats? Because I think most of us have seen the musical
I've
Cats.
certainly seen it.
I actually got to
haven't.
see it as a child in Mexico City, and that was
Amazing.
something wild. But this movie, I had Perry right next to me and Jim Vevoda from IGN, and we could not stop laughing.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I felt so bad because they were like, "Well, the publicists are there, but you were giving us drinks and you're treating us so well, and you're so nice. But we can't not laugh."
Both of you have seen Cats.
Yes.
Oh,
Like
yes.
a full
Oh, yeah.
I've only I know the popular songs. Like I know what memories, but I've never sat through the full story in my life. So
Well, it's not really a story,
I was
per
going to
se.
say so this is really
This is it. Yeah.
Yeah,
in the play, it's more like the cats are singing to the audience about being cats. They're also less committed to being cats than the actors in this movie.
See, that's what I'm not quite understanding, because I watched this movie and the first thing I think I said to you, I think maybe even while the movie was going, is like, people should just not act like cats. But I also know that show is beloved. It's one of, what is it, the longest running show in Broadway history or something like that.
It was for a while anyway.
I just can't take what I saw in this movie and make that compute. It makes no sense to me.
So again, Cats is an ensemble dance show. And the movie so there's this featured dance role in the play called McCavity. And
Idris
Elba's character.
Okay.
So when
I also can't remember the names for the life of me.
That's okay, I got them all.
Just say Jellicle a lot.
Yeah.
Jellicle.
What does Jellicle mean?
No one knows,
Perri.
Nobody knows.
Only T.S. Eliot knows. So basically what they did, what Thomas Hooper and company did when they were making this movie, was they looked at the play of Cats and they looked at this dance role of McCavity, who in the play is a bad cat.
Right.
But that's it. Like, he's just a bad cat. And they looked at him and they go, what if McCavity was the antagonist and we're going to make that movie? And that's what this movie is.
A lot of them are bad cats.
It is true that are dancing cats though, but it's the design of it. I feel like I was watching a video game that was really weird, or like or like the Cats musical version of a video game.
Yes.
But then while that was happening, because they looked so strange, I couldn't stop looking, but I was also terrified at the same time. It's kind of like my brain was being eaten by a parasite.
Yeah, a little uncanny valley.
But I was also happy, you know?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, I don't even know. Because like the thing that I'm having a hard time with is I've got a lot of people asking me, oh, well, would you recommend it? And this isn't a good movie.
No, it's not.
The execution, it's like, and one of the things I don't understand too is we're always talking about how many people are involved in making one feature film. How did no one put their foot down along the way and say, this isn't a good idea. We shouldn't execute the story on the big screen quite like this. But even though I don't think it's a good movie, I had quite a good deal of fun. And this feels especially mean, but it's the truth. We were sitting there that night, and it's almost like when you're in a theater packed full of people who, you know that feeling when you're trying to hold back a laugh, but all of a sudden someone near you giggles and there's no hold. That it was like that every 5 minutes, and that kind of communal laughter has value.
Oh yes, and then it only grew as the movie went on, because the movie just kept getting more and more ridiculous. I mean, you had somebody like Jennifer Hudson, who is brilliant and just the most like beautiful voice.
She's genuinely
so talented.
good in this movie.
She
too.
is, but she looks so ridiculous, and it is not her fault.
It never stops being distracting.
No,
too. I
it
thought that there
doesn't.
was a chance that at the very beginning, like, okay, once I get wrapped up in the story, I'll forget about this. No, because she has a moment where she's belting out memory, and I mean, emoting to the max. And then all of a sudden, they cut to Judi Dench cat. I'm never going to remember their names.
Old
Judi
Deuteronomy.
Dench cat, old that, and they cut to her, and it was like the shot just stayed on her like a hair too long, and everyone in the audience erupted.
Can we talk about that final song in the play?
Yes.
Where the camera is close on Judi Dench.
You
Spoilers.
are losing your
but
mind.
the poor cat who plays Victoria the White Cat, and or the girl that plays
all
Victoria,
just
and then
staring
the guy
at
who's Mr. Mistopheles, their faces are also both in frame, but they're like sort of out of focus, and they're just acting so hard. And oh my God.
But it was so weird because she was like, Dame Judi Dench was staring at our souls.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And telling us, she's like, I am not a dog. I am a cat.
I know.
And I was like,
the whole audience I was with,
it was incredible.
burst out loud. Because at that point, it's the end of the movie, and we are all just like, I cannot believe this is
that's a
happening.
sign that there's also other things that are amiss here. Not just the fact that it's like, you know, a little bit of a weird execution, putting these famous actors in this kind of get up with VFX and whatever costumes they were wearing on set. But it's also real true issues in the directing. The framing of that shot,
it's terrible.
It's strange. It's
But
strange
also,
to
okay,
focus
but
on a
he's
character.
the director. What happened?
But we're
It's so
also
bizarre.
talking about Thomas Hooper, who, when he was working on Les Miserables,
Right.
where you had this opportunity for this show that is about this resistance in Paris, and we could have seen the whole freaking city. Instead, he's like, you know what people want to see? Eddie Redmayne's terrible jaw tension. Let's shoot the entire movie up people's nostrils.
Damn.
And the same thing happened in Cats.
But even more, I mean,
But
crazier.
yes, totally
because
crazier.
I think it's, for me, it was honestly the way they looked that
Yeah.
I did not, especially because in the actual musical, the live musical, they have this cool makeup.
It
right?
is, yeah.
It is actually pretty cool and impressive, even for how old it is,
Yeah.
right? But in this case, it looked like just like the weirdest video game furries. I did not understand what's happening, and then, like I said, Jennifer Hudson, beautiful voice, ridiculous looking,
Yeah.
but
I mean, Jennifer Hudson's rendition of Memory is like the most beautiful version of that song I have ever heard.
Agreed.
And a lot of people have sung that song.
Yes.
But she looks so weird.
She really does. But my favorite though was watching Perri sink more and more into her seat and just trying not to giggle.
Yeah.
That was really fun.
I forgot. I think I said it to you. I hate the C word, the cringe word. I try not to use it, but
Right.
like that is exactly what but my heart hurt for a lot of the
Yes.
A-list talent in this, especially, I mean, Judi Dench was very hard to look at, and
Yes.
Ian McKellen was breaking my heart.
Okay,
I
but
also
then when
felt
Ian
like-
McKellen
okay.
started meowing, I clapped.
Yes.
I was like, that was amazing.
Okay, so for
Yeah.
me, I felt like Ian McKellen was the one person who knew what movie he was
Exactly,
in.
completely
Everyone
agree.
else was taking it too seriously,
Yeah.
and Ian McKellen was like, I'm just gonna chew this scenery and be a cat and a queen.
My favorite too was every scene where the cat people
I know.
were sharing their love for each other, and they're basically just doing this.
or like grooming themselves.
Exactly. Yeah, that was fun.
Definitely
Yeah.
a very
Good times.
bizarre thing, and it's hearing you guys describe the makeup in the
Yeah,
show.
right.
That maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's the fact that it looks like people wearing makeup, whereas
Yes.
this is a human face and often human hands and human feet, but the
With
rest
some more
of them
shoes,
is
don't
meant
forget.
to look like a legitimate cat.
Look at that.
I really, I
And
can't
also
for
the way
life
the
of me.
tails were
Yeah,
moving
it was
creepy.
weird.
I didn't know what was going
but
on.
I will actually give a little props to the VFX department, because as awkward as that was to see, fleshed out the way that Tom Hooper envisioned it, I mean, they did their job.
Yeah, that's how
that
cat
looked
tails-
as I imagine they intended for it to look.
You know,
but why did they design them so
it's-
creepy?
It's so strange because, again,
They made something weirder than Polar Express.
right. Literally, my
Yeah.
friend who I was sitting with turned to me during the tap dance cat train number and goes,
God.
"This looks like Polar Express."
But creepier.
Yes.
Because I'm terrified of that movie.
Yes.
And this, but except for Cats, I'm not terrified. I just could not stop staring. That's the thing. Like, I actually kind of want to go see it with my friends again just to
Totally.
see their reactions. So I think that's the reason it might
Yeah.
make money. It's an awesomely bad movie.
So wait, let's take a moment to actually do that. Would you recommend because this is a bizarre review. I've never really had a review conversation like this before. Do you guys recommend that people go out and see Cats?
I think that if you enjoy bad movies like I do, where you know what you're getting and you're gonna go to the theater and just have a good time and laugh at a movie and laugh with your friends, this is a good movie for you.
I completely concur. This is one of those movies where you go in and you go, I cannot wait for the How Did This Get Made episode about this.
Yep.
And I mean, there is something, like you were saying, Perri, about the experience of shared laughter in the theater, and I guarantee you that's going to happen if you go see Cats.
Definitely.
So it's a great theater experience, even if it's not a great movie.
That's
Especially
actually
'cause
a big
there's-
part of the reason why I would recommend.
Yeah.
It's so
and there's
weird
so
to
many
think.
good actors in it that's what makes it more bizarre.
And I don't want to knock any of their performances
Yeah.
too, because one thing I was very impressed by the whole time is that, as ridiculous as all this was, they were committed.
Oh,
they
yes.
were giving it their all.
Oh, yeah.
But it feels so wrong to recommend a movie when, you know, and I feel bad saying this too, we're laughing at the movie. We're not laughing with the movie. None of this was their intention whatsoever, but I really do think there's value in that. And I think if you want to have a good time with a whole bunch of people, now is the time to see Cats when you can have that shared experience. Because I don't know if you're going to have the same experience with it sitting at home by yourself, unless maybe you had like 1 or 20 drinks in your hand or something like that. But this is the kind of movie to me that it's sitting right now at an 18% on Rotten Tomatoes. That is a very, very low score with a review count of 95 reviews. So that's a significant amount already. But this is the kind of poorly reviewed movie that could wind up becoming, you know,
a cultural phenomenon,
like a midnight movie type classic, where it becomes, you know, a sing-along riot or something like that. So who knows?
Look at what happened with The Room. Right?
Yeah.
With Tommy Wiseau, you never know. If that could do it, why not Cats?
Dude, like, give me sing-along versions of Cats, please.
Yeah.
Oh,
agree.
boy.
Amazing.
Now, I have a question for you,
Yes.
for both of you. After you saw the movie, could you look at your cats in the eye?
It's such a good question.
It's such a good question. Because I went home immediately and my roommate and I were sitting watching, I think we were catching up on Encore on Disney Plus. So like, I went from like the musical Cats to a show about people from high school reuniting to do their high school musical again.
That's Emma for you guys.
It's me. I mean, it's the most me statement that's ever existed. And my cat Light comes over to me and I literally asked him, I was like, Light, what's your Jellicle name? You're not gonna tell me?
I kind of want to make a Dewey song or something, but it wouldn't be half as interesting as these bizarre stories. And what's the cat's name? That's Francesca Hayward's like friend cat.
Oh, Mr. Mistopheles.
No, not the magic, not like the magician cat.
Oh, Muskus Trap, the narrator guy.
Sure, yeah.
Sure.
I'm very impressed. Dewey
looks a little like him.
Does a
so
little
when
bit.
I got home, I was like, I basically like just stood in the middle of my living room and I stared at Dewey for a little while, just like deep in thought.
And you're like, are you like the Cats movie I just saw? Are you a Jellicle or are you not? Or should you Jellicle?
I did genuinely start to think that maybe the better route was to go like the super silly CG route with cats, where you just like make their little mouths move instead of having humans play them. But I don't think there's an easy answer to this. Maybe cats should have just existed on the stage. But then again, I would see it again.
What a time to be alive.
Yeah, really.
Yep.
All right, guys, that is our review of the new movie Cats. If and when you see it this weekend, do tell us what you think, because we can't stop talking about it, so talk about it with us. All right. Before we go on to our final topic of the day, we got a whole bunch of stuff to let you know about, like a brand new episode of Comic Book Shopping. Here's a clip.
Welcome to Comic Book Shopping. We are here at Golden Apple Comics in the heart of Hollywood. I am here with Yahya Abdul Mateen II.
There we go.
That's right, Black Manta, and spoilers for later, a character in Watchmen.
They don't know what's coming, and then boom. And I'm learning right now, by the way.
Yeah?
Yeah. This is a lesson. It sounds like The Matrix.
Yeah, I mean, it does. It does, doesn't it? Now, I haven't seen the last episode yet, so this whole thing has been like me dancing around knowing what happens, but will he spoil it in the episode? Probably not. But first, let's get some comics, man. Let's do some shopping.
Let's do it.
So we actually have some breaking news that we're going to cover in a second. But before we get there, a couple more things to plug. We have a Star Wars Episode 9, Rise of Skywalker spoiler review dropping on the channel tonight. So if you want to get in on all the good spoiler conversations, that's where it's going to be. On top of that, we're also partnering with the Sonic movie for a Christmas giveaway. So just check out all this information. I believe if you follow Sonic Movie on Twitter, you have a chance to win a super cool Sonic prize pack. So that's an option for you. But right now, so this is going to be interesting. I don't think we've ever done this on Movie Talk. The Tenet trailer just dropped, so we thought, why not watch it here on the show?
Right, because otherwise
like,
I would not be on the show because we need to watch it now.
We should
Because I need to
probably
watch it.
stay on the
Dorina's like,
line.
otherwise I'm leaving.
Yes.
So
Do you want to move to the middle?
Yeah, I'll move to the middle.
all kind
Come
of
here.
Perfect.
Let's move our heads to each other like cats, like we like each other. That's what's happening. Exactly. Okay, there we go.
Let's hope Slack isn't going off the entire time. I'm going to boost the sound on this. Get ready, everyone. I am going to the beginning, and I'm pressing play now.
Okay.
We all believe we've run into the burning building. But until we feel that heat, we can never know. You do. You chose to die instead of giving up your colleagues. That test you passed? Not everybody does. Welcome to the afterlife.
Ooh.
It looks so Christopher Nolan.
It does look very Christopher Nolan.
Is this music by Atticus Ross and Trent Reznor? What's happening?
We're trying to prevent World War III.
Nuclear holocaust.
No. Something worse.
All I have for you is a word. Tenet. It'll open the right doors. Some of the wrong ones, too.
You have to start looking at the world in a new way.
Batman.
Don't try to understand it. Feel it.
What happened here? Hasn't happened yet.
I mean, I'm gonna watch it.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm curious to know what the official synopsis. Do we want to intro ways back here?
Aw, why
like
are you
the-
guys leaving away from me? That's so
Actually, turn
sad.
the
We were all
sound
so
down.
cozy here. Okay, that
movie,
music I'm pretty happy with.
it sounds great, and
Yeah.
it really is incredible how you could see just a couple frames of a movie and just, obviously
Yeah.
we knew that was Christopher Nolan, but it
Yes.
really does feel like it belongs in his, cinematic world there.
Absolutely.
But he is a talented director, so that looks very, very pretty.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm excited.
And that's the thing is whether you're into Christopher Nolan films or not, you can't deny that he's got a vision and he executes it extremely well.
yeah,
I'm trying to see if there's an official synopsis.
Too.
Oh my God, John David Washington.
Yeah.
This is
I
going to be
love
huge
John David
for him.
Washington.
This is going to be big for him.
Yeah.
It's just.
Do you guys have any idea what it's about?
Well, that's why I was just
That's what I
desperately
love.
searching for a synopsis, which I'm not surprised that they didn't release. But
Yeah.
But that's what I'm happy about, though.
fascinating.
I wish every trailer we saw was like this, where you have
Yeah.
no idea what the story is.
Watching this trailer right now makes me want to go back and revisit the Inception trailer
Yeah.
just to see
Yes.
what trailer one for that one was
Right,
like.
right.
I was
Because I
thinking
think
that
that
too.
any idea that I formulate at this point is probably going to turn out to be wrong.
Well, and also, in the trailer they say, "Oh, welcome to the afterlife," which to me immediately makes me interested whether he's actually dead or not, because I love Grim Reaper stories. Like I love stories about people who are technically dead but are like
Yeah, that's- I
interacting
just-
in the real world. Yeah.
Do you see my heart emojis
Yes,
looking
I
at you
do, I
after
do.
seeing that, Emma?
I do.
was like, yeah, let's talk about death more.
So I have a little quote here that we could share because we don't have any official information on the plot besides what we see in this trailer. But Robert Pattinson, here's how he described reading the script. He says, "I've been a little wary of doing big movies for years and years, but there's just something about Chris Nolan's stuff. He seems like the only director now who can do what is essentially a very personal, independent movie that has huge scale. I read the script and it's unreal." I mean, it doesn't really give us too much insight into story, but that right there captures, I think, why we are all so mesmerized by Christopher Nolan's work. And, I especially love Inception of his most recent films, and something about the way that he digs into dreams, and that makes me think that he could do the same with time here.
Completely.
Like Interstellar, I still love, but it worked a little less well for me. So
I
I hope kind of is in line with Inception.
I saw Interstellar in the actual IMAX theater at Universal, and it was such a great experience that I think I like the movie better than the movie maybe deserves.
I mean, that's my favorite Hans Zimmer soundtrack. Interstellar. It's like that. That's like a perfect example of when a movie, levels up because of its score. And I think that's with all Nolan movies because he just knows not just the crew he works with, that's going to again level up his movie, but he's just so good at not just the action sequences and being very creative with those, but also the character moments, right? Yeah. And I feel like that most directors are either one or the other, and he's both. So I'm really excited about this.
I cannot wait for that, and I can't wait to see this trailer on the big screen too. I know that's a very important thing for Nolan with his trailers, and you could see why when you watch this.
Right.
I mean, there was even a disclaimer at the end that said, "For the full experience, make sure you see this in a movie theater." Basically,
it is true, and I look forward to doing just that and to get a little more information. I know he's not going to reveal all the details, but I am curious to get I don't know, one solid log line to put me on the right path, but one way or the other. Next year, this is a most anticipated.
I want to go completely blind if I can, but when does it come out, Perri?
I believe it is July. I closed out the window, of course, but I believe it's July 2020.
26? Is it my birthday? Birthday present?
It would. I feel like it would make sense. The stars would align. You're close enough. July 17th.
Oh, well, you guys have to take me for my birthday.
That's the way. That's the way to celebrate. It is a deal. Tenet. I can't wait. Hit the comment section below. Tell us what you guys think about the trailer yourselves. And before we move on to a couple live Twitter questions, we're going to talk about one other trailer that I'm going to get the title right. Actually, I'm not, because it was abbreviated in the in the show notes. I'm going to get it.
We believe in you.
To All the Boys I Loved Before was the great first movie that hit Netflix and was a major phenomenon, made Noah Centineo like a huge thing now. This one is scrolling. To All the Boys, P.S. I Still Love You. I could get used to All the Boys, P.S. I Still Love You. I'm fine. I can get used to that. This trailer is delightful. I think if you fell in love with that first movie, there's nothing not to love about this trailer, except for the fact that, when you got two characters that say to each other, "I'm not going to break your heart," they're going to break each other's hearts. But I just want to spend more time with the two of them in these roles. That first movie was a delight, and I think Netflix is going to knock it out of the park all over again.
Yeah, I mean, I am not a huge fan. I grew up watching romantic comedies with my mom, but that's why I know about them, but I usually don't like them as much. And my husband loves the first one. So he actually, I was like, oh, there's a supposedly good movie on Netflix. Let's watch it. And I was like, that was actually pretty cute. I enjoyed that. I actually felt, I like fell for the characters.
Yeah.
I was involved. I always get super bored in romances. So I thought it was pretty cute.
I think I'm a little like you where, rom-com just isn't the genre I run to first, but I think Netflix in particular is really carving out a nice corner for themselves between this and Always Be My Maybe. And, I think there's something about, I'm not saying romantic comedies don't belong on the big screen by any means, but I feel like making them for at-home viewing, especially right now, I feel like it's just winter vibes. I know this isn't coming out until February, but right now it's like, I want all like the warm fuzzy feels while I sit on my couch watching stuff.
And that, to your point, Perri, again, sure, romantic comedies absolutely should be on the big screen. And I'm very particular about the type of romantic comedies that I like. But I think that there is something to be said about making them for home distribution, because there's such a nice thing to watch at home. There's such a nice thing to watch at home.
And this comes out right around Valentine's Day. So just wait for this to be one of the hottest topics out there.
Also, being a musical fan, Jordan Fisher is in this, and he's delightful because he's a very talented young man. I'm looking forward to that. I sound like a grandma that's like a cougar or something.
All right. No, I mean, it's fine.
Well, no, that's my goal, to be a cougar. It's fine.
That's okay. I feel like we should all set that goal.
I think so.
All right. Let's get into some chat stuff. So we have Thank you for this, Thad. Thad wants us to let you know that there are reports out there that they're playing a 6-minute prologue at IMAX screenings of Rise of Skywalker for Tenet.
Oh, really?
Well,
I'm not scheduled to see it in IMAX.
No.
Now I gotta go.
I think that's why I just went dead silent.
we're all like, why didn't we get invited?
What do
Can't
I
we
do
go?
to get myself into one of those screenings now? Hopefully there's still tickets available, even if I have to sit in the front
Yeah.
row or something.
I'm gonna look on my AMCA list right after this. Are they playing it at Universal? They gotta be. It's the one
man.
real IMAX theater in Los Angeles.
Also, can they just let us in to watch that part and then we can just leave?
I would
already saw the movie.
I would truly pay to just go see the 6 minutes and then leave.
Yeah.
I mean,
But I also want to go in blind. It's a very difficult decision as a movie nerd.
I always say I want to go in blind, but I also know I can't help myself, so I'm hopeless in that department. So I don't care. I'm going to see it, and I'm going to read every single thing I could possibly find about this movie at this point. All right. Questions. I see the word, so I haven't looked at any of these, but I see the word creepy. So I'm immediately going to that one. Danielle Barta is asking, what do you think is a creepier use of movie magic? Anthropomorphized cats look in cats or bringing actors back to life?
Ooh, that's an excellent
that's
question.
a really,
Danielle.
really good
Because
question.
they are both horrifying.
Yeah.
I mean, at least Cats was funny. Whereas sometimes with actors, she's talking about like being de-aged and
being de-aged.
I mean,
or like Tarkin.
Right, because that's what I was going to bring up.
Yeah.
Because Rogue One is actually one of the few newer Star Wars movies that I actually really enjoy, and that's the part that completely took me out of the movie because it was like Cartoon Man walking around, so it was just really weird.
Yeah, I think that there is a level of when you know that that person is dead or you know that they don't look like that anymore. There's this disconnect. So my inclination is bringing people back to life.
Yeah, so anthropomorphic actors is fine.
I think
That's what I'm saying.
I think it comes down to the amount of screen time more than anything.
You're
I mean,
right.
So someone even tweeted at me. I'm sorry, I forgot who did this, but is Cats a horror movie? And
I was going to put it on my top 10 list of horror movies.
It kind of is. So I think that if you were going to do that with human beings playing cats for the extent of a full feature, I would go the anthropomorphized route. But if you're to do that, if we're essentially talking about a past actor who is being brought back for a full feature film, like the James Dean stuff we've been discussing recently, then it would be that. So I think it's a matter of screen time for me.
Yeah, so if they bring back James Dean, I'm not into it. But if somebody makes a James Dean cameo happen with James Dean as a cat, then I'm okay with it.
Always finding the happy medium, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's a nice
Trying
thought. All right, let's get to James. James wants to know, will the low Rotten Tomatoes score for Rise of Skywalker bring down opening weekend box office expectations? $200 million is off the table now, isn't it?
Is it?
I think
I'll let you guys answer before I dig
I mean,
into
I
it.
think it's because of the property itself. Like, I think a lot of us look at Rotten Tomatoes scores, but I think the general public doesn't really. Like, the rest of the world, I think is going to make a lot of money no matter what because it's a Star Wars property.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that more what I'm getting of people who are nervous about the low score are people who are big Star Wars fans, and there's no way that they're not going to go see it. Their
Exactly.
concern is more that they're not feeling as hyped up to see it anymore, not that they're not going to go. And I kind of do wonder how much the general public is affected by something like that for something that's part of such a huge franchise. If this were just like, original space film number 26, this would definitely affect the box office results. But I don't know that it's going to make as big of an impact as one might think.
I don't think you could say that the low Rotten Tomatoes score will be the thing that leads it to having a lower number. But when you add up all the little issues that they've had, that could do it, because not
Sure.
only do I think it's coming in under Last Jedi, but I am going under the $200 million mark. I said 190, which is right around what Lion King made, which I think, you know, they're two completely different films, you know, different fan bases, all of that. But Lion King was another movie this year that went into its release with like the biggest hype in the world. Then all of a sudden it got a lukewarm reception. And not that $190 million is like a teeny tiny bit of money, but
Yeah,
when we're
take it.
looking at the Star Wars film franchise and the idea of Rise of Skywalker meeting the level that was already set by the movies that came before it, it's a little bit of a disappointment to see it come in lower. And I think between Rotten Tomatoes or reviews in general, between, you know, the bad taste left in some people's mouths with Last Jedi, and just thinking about this when I was walking out of the screening, when I saw Force Awakens, the first thing that I thought is, I can't wait to take my entire family to this. And I'm not just talking about my little cousins, my parents, my mom in particular, who isn't the biggest Star Wars fan. I still looked at that movie and I'm like she's gonna like it. There's certain like really just like broad appealing themes and topics, and I think she's gonna get invested in these characters. I felt it a little less so with Last Jedi, but I don't feel it at all with Rise of Skywalker. I would be very hesitant to send her as a very casual Star Wars fan into that
And
movie.
my parents are really into Star Wars. And so like I was talking to my mom about it and I was like, I thought it was fine. And she was like, well, I don't know. I think I'll probably like it. But I honestly think my parents may have some of the same issues that I have with it.
You add all this up, though, and it could amount to bringing it down.
I think that because my family and I grew up as Star Wars fans, this is just a tradition that whenever a new one comes out, we always watch it together, like for Christmas, right?
that.
So that's something that right now I'm like, well, guess I'm gonna see it again. So sorry. Yeah.
So I think when you add all those factors up, it can bring it down a bit. Also, the fact that we have more like major must-see blockbusters in theaters than ever. It's all of these things are working against it, just not to bring it down to like an abysmal opening, but we're just talking about a little less than the movie that came before.
Yeah.
It's gonna make a ton of money. It's just not gonna probably, beat something like Force Awakens or any of the
It's not
others.
going to
Maybe
be
Last
Force
Jedi for that
Awakens.
matter.
Yeah.
All right, let's get one more question in before we say goodbye. This one from MK Songbird, who's asking, are there any smaller films from earlier this year you saw that came and went without much attention that you think are worth tracking down? And MK Songbird recommends Little Woods.
So earlier this year. was the question.
Earlier in the year, and also something that didn't get maybe that much love.
I mean, I think Perry's going to be happy with my answer. I keep pitching to Booksmart to people. I still
That was
think,
my answer too.
Oh, there you go. See, no, I think Booksmart is one of the coolest, funniest coming-of-age movies we've seen in so long, and it's directed so beautifully. The music is great. The acting is great. It's funny. Like I'm still sad that not a lot of people watch that movie. I think it's great.
Also with Booksmart, it's so funny because I watch trailers for other teen comedies and I go, I don't feel as represented by that as I did by Booksmart.
Completely
I
agree.
felt like I was watching my own life watching Booksmart.
Exactly, and I
one.
think it's probably because the characters are actually feel real.
Yeah.
Like they feel like they're acting like teenagers act,
Yes.
and most of the movies that we get are not that way. So that was very refreshing.
And
So watch
it's
it.
so funny. It's filled with great one-liners that you can't forget, and the pacing is just so on point. It's vibrant. It's snappy. I love that movie so much. I'm just looking at the January release calendar
I was
right
like,
now.
I gotta look back.
I think the
It's a lot of movies.
Kid Who Would Be King is a
Oh,
great
so
family-friendly
cute.
adventure that was kind of forgotten about. But Joe Cornish is a phenomenal
I
director.
totally remember when I first started seeing trailers for that, and I went, "This looks adorable.
And
No one's gonna see this."
It really is.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, like a fun romp.
Yeah,
and
it's
it,
great.
It makes you feel good, and its heart is firmly in the right place, which I always appreciate. Scrolling down a little more, let's see if we can get a couple other titles here. I mean, Happy Death. Did you see Happy Death?
Oh
Day?
my
I
God.
love the Happy Death Day series.
Yeah.
I think it's so refreshing.
So
good.
So good.
Because
Yeah.
that first one came out in October of whatever year, and it did very well. And then this one hit theaters. I think it was Valentine's Day this year, and it I don't even think it cracked 10 million opening weekend, which is so unfortunate because I think that movie represents a great way to continue a franchise where they kept the core concept intact, but they almost like pivoted genres a little, and it works really well.
Right.
And Jessica Roth is so good.
She
really is.
so good. Why is she not in more things? Like, Jessica Roth is unbelievably talented, who plays Tree, the main girl in Happy Death Day. I want to see her in more stuff.
I have, for you in particular, for some reason, did you ever see the movie Greta?
No.
Oh my God.
Greta?
So bananas.
What
I
is
don't
this?
know why I think you would really like this.
It's weird.
It's with Isabelle Huppert and
Ooh,
Chloe
and
Moretz.
Chloe
Moretz,
And
yeah.
it's like
Isabel is my favorite.
it's
okay,
like
cool.
it's kind of batshit and crazy.
totally-
Is it a horror movie?
It's a horror.
Yeah.
It's a thriller. I'd call it.
Okay.
And basically the concept is that this woman is like entrapping young girls into being her friend, sort of. It's very bizarre.
You have to see
But I
it.
think you'd like it.
Okay, I'm down. I'm always down for weird movies.
It would be your kind of thing.
Okay.
And I think everybody out there would enjoy Greta. Give it a go. You probably missed it this year. All right, we do have to say goodbye because Dorina, you have a show to run off to.
I do have a show. If you guys want to keep watching Collider and all these lovely people that I work with, I am on Collider Live at 10 a.m.
So that's the only place to go after you're done with Movie Talk. Emma, as always, thank you so much
Yes,
for being
thank you so
here.
much. And later this evening, be sure to check out a new episode of Collider Jedi Council. We are going to be doing a non-spoiler look at Rise of Skywalker, as well as talking about The Mandalorian and all kinds of Star Wars news.
Adam in the booth, Dorian and Thad in the chat. Thank you guys for making us aware of the Tenet trailer. It was fun to do that on the show today. Huge thanks to everybody out there watching. Do not leave this video without liking and sharing it, and tune back in tomorrow, 9 a.m. PT for a brand new episode.